studio where we're joined by lawyer Njenga, who's establishing the Road Safety Resource Center. Thank you so much, Njenga, for joining us.
You're welcome, Judy.
Going straight into this, looking at the accidents that happened this week, particularly the bus accident on Thursday that claimed so many lives. And what people are asking is, are we seeing that we are sacrificing lives at the altar of corruption? And when I say that, I'm talking about the bribes involved, traffic police not enforcing road safety rules and regulations. What are your thoughts on this?
My take is that, first of all, we have sufficient rules or laws in our books to be able to make our roads very safe. The only thing is that it's the enforcement of the law. If every single citizen of this country took the responsibility of ensuring that traffic rules and laws are obeyed, we'll have less accidents. If you go to most other jurisdictions, you never find traffic policemen on the road, and the accidents are much less than in this country.
It's easy to say it's the responsibility of all of us, and here at Citizen we do that all the time, and we encourage people to take responsibility, but the buck must stop somewhere. Njenga, in terms of the letter of the law, when it comes to road safety regulations, who do we then look to when the loopholes and serious egregious errors occur?
Julie, the Traffic Act and the National Road Transport and Safety Act and the Transport Licensing Act are very clear on who has the statutory responsibility of ensuring that there's safety on our roads. In the Traffic Act, the police department has the responsibility of ensuring that the traffic rules and regulations are followed. And if any person breaks those rules, he must be charged in a court of law, and then there are consequences. Very basic things, for example, you driving on Thika Highway, there are very clear signs that say, keep to the left unless you're overtaken. The Traffic Act is very clear on that if you are a driver of a slow motor vehicle, you must keep to the inside lane so that you can give others. If you drive on Thika Road at night, you start getting scared because you have to overtake from the left because there are slow cars on the right side.
It comes also to training, because we have issued driver's licenses to people who are not adequately trained. Again,
if you went back from the point of the driving schools, it's not conjecture to know that you go to a driving school, you pay for your lessons, but at the end of the day, they'll tell you so much is what is the fees. If you don't want to fail, if you don't want to fail the test, you have to pay a certain amount.
So on this, where does the buck stop, Njenga?
Now that
Who do we look to?
Let me say this stops with the traffic examiners, because the Act specifically states that they must keep a register and they must take you to a road test, and they will only. First of all, there are two exams. There's one that you do on the board, so that the examiner will check whether you know the basic rules about which lane you should take when you're where. When you pass on the board, then you go to the road with a road examiner, usually at the rank of an inspector of police.
Is there argument for perhaps setting up a system where you can track what examiner was responsible for passing what driver's license, and therefore they are incentivized to do the right thing?
I think that will come in, with time, and I think it's important that I heard the Secretary Cabinet in charge of roads and infrastructure state that we'll get driving licenses that can be tracked electronically, so that every time you are charged in court with an offense of careless driving, you lose certain points on your license. If you accumulate a certain number of points, then your license automatically gets suspended.
Which is applied in several parts of the world.
That's the standard procedure. But again, who follows? How many licenses drivers on our roads who never went to any driving school? I mean, we've had cases where journalists have exposed people getting licenses without ever getting behind a car.
Truth is, as you've said, though, if we are all to be honest, we have all paid a certain fee that was not legally required to get our license, is there then argument for each and every driver in Kenya to go back to the drawing board and get trained once again and a fresh issuance of licenses?
If you ask me if it's going to save one other life, I think all drivers in this country should go back to driving school and get new driving licenses. And I don't think that is a crazy thing to ask if we'll make our roads safer.
Let's put this to everyone at home. Share your views on that. 22422. Is that excessive, or is it something we should be thinking about? Njenga, let me move you slightly to the condition of the vehicles on the road. This city-to-city bus that rolled on Thursday, chassis seems intact, bus body absolutely decimated, which brings us to the bodybuilding elements of the buses, especially the PSV vehicles on our roads. Whose responsibility is it to check the standards?
That responsibility again lies with the licensing board. That's the transport licensing board. That's the one it should only give licenses to motor vehicles that have passed the tests. First of all, each one of them must go for a mechanical examination, and if it's found to be lacking, they shouldn't be on our roads. First of all, passenger vehicles all over the world are made with firm and very strong material. If you check, I think here, the only buses that we have like that are the buses of Braeburn School. Those they're called road safety, school bus, safety school bus or something like that. Those buses are made with reinforced steel.
Which is what we require when a bus
so that
rolls.
First of all, when a bus is driving even at 80 kilometers per hour, if it gets a puncture and the driver steps on the brakes, it's going to roll because the center of gravity of that bus is much higher. Why you never find Formula One cars rolling, it's unlikely, is because they're very low, so that's the center of gravity is also very low. It's more difficult for that motor vehicle to roll. Buses and matatus, they're notoriously the bid. We've had cases where a bus, standard bus that has been sold by General Motors ETC has a chassis of let's say 8 meters. Then it has been lengthened by another 2 meters so that it can have 3 or 4 more seats. In case of an accident, that part of that chassis will not hold. Again, the material used on the body of these buses. Look at that bus. It did not seem like it had a roof.
It was like tin.
Exactly. It's tin. It's tin. That tells you that the standard, there is no specific provision in the law on that, but I think we should be thinking that all buses, matatus, must be, the cage where the passengers sit must be reinforced.
Meet certain standards.
Meet certain standards.
Thank you so much. A final question to you, very short one, and I'm moving away from our topic of road safety, but do share your views on that, to the very critical relationship between the Chief Registrar and the Judicial Service Commission. I bring this to you because you're a lawyer. We've discussed referendum for years, and you've been an expert who's shared your views with us. Just looking at the intrigues we've seen as a country over the past few weeks, and then this backroom deal, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth in a sense that somewhere here something is not right.
First of all, I'll say this, that the Judicial Service Commission is a commission established under our Constitution to take care of matters to do with the Justice Department. And so far, I would say, up till when this happened, we will say that we've had very good reforms in the judiciary. Most people have the faith they had lost in the judiciary prior to 2007 has been recreated, and people have started having faith in this institution. There's a lot of money that has been put in that institution to put in those reforms. And I don't know exactly what happened, but one thing I know is that the chief registrar of the High Court has a contractual term, has been given a contractual term. He is the head, the administrative head, so she's the chief accounting officer. If questions are asked, the body that should be asking that should be the Judicial Service Commission. But I think they should have had the foresight to first of all do some preliminary investigations, and if there are reasonable grounds, there is a constitutional commission that is mandated. If there's corruption, the constitutionally mandated commission is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission that
could have
should
looked
be
into those
investigating
matters.
this.
Thank you, thank you so much for that. It's important to get the outlook from the legal community as well, and thank you for your thoughts on road safety. We'll be following the work of the Resource Center on road safety in the weeks to come. Share your views with us.